picked up the phone. He was like, "Who's this?
So, yeah,
Who is this?
I know what it says on my phone, but this can't be that person.
I took two minutes explaining who it was. Hey, this is Game God.
Yeah.
Who?
Game God. You know the guy you podcast with. Game
Who?
Who, me?
Who, me?
Oh man.
What's up, everybody? Welcome. Thanks for joining us on the stream, the YouTube, Facebook live stream. It's a completely different time than what you're used to, and completely different than what we're used to. So we hope that it doesn't throw you off. Hope it doesn't throw us off, actually.
Yeah,
And,
well, fine. Sorry, I was looking at it because I didn't see us on
I'm
Facebook.
pressing buttons. I'm like, oh, what buttons I press here? I'm like, oh, is this working?
It's been that long for you.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
I didn't see it pop up. I'm like, let me see Facebook, but it's up.
That was the other thing.
We are live.
I'm looking. I'm like, what's going on here? Let's go. Okay, so yes, here we go.
Well, tonight is all about spoilers.
That's right. That's right.
It
That's
is.
what I like
It's
to
all
hear.
about spoilers. We have Picard that we need to spoil and talk about the finale of Picard. We have Moon Knight that we need to spoil and talk about the finale of that. And of course, you know, it's been a few days. If you haven't seen Doctor Strange by now, well,
you're not a fan.
yeah, you're not gonna
Okay.
see it anyway.
Okay.
Yeah,
We know
you're not
that's
gonna
not
see
true. We know that's not true.
Listen, with movies that come out these days, and as big as they are blockbuster type movies,
Listen,
you
I'm
need
going
to
to pull a
see it
Dave
over.
Sampson.
Hold on. No,
Is there some truth to that movie?
No, listen. The thing is because everyone is on social media nowadays, and you know that if you check your social media account and you don't go see a movie, it is going to get spoiled for you, no matter what, because somebody can't keep their big trap shut on social media.
Absolutely.
This is true.
Absolutely. And you know what? They're getting worse and worse with it.
Getting
Before
worse.
they used to- before you used to get like 2 or 3 sentences, and then they did like a spoiler right in the middle.
Right.
Now they open with it. I can't believe
That's the headline.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I'm crying after this movie. I'm like, what? Hey, stop.
Man, they showed Wolverine. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
It's like,
My
Like,
favorite
what?
character of all time, dead.
Yes.
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
Thanks.
there you
Thanks,
go.
Sean.
Appreciate
There you
that.
go.
I'm not going to spoil it for you, but
Yeah.
Oh,
hey,
And that's
Hey,
not the spoiler. It's coming.
yeah.
hey, the most famous character in the MCU is no longer part of the MCU.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you who it is. No spoiler.
It's true.
But he's no longer there.
But he's no longer part of the universe. Man, I want to talk about all
He
kinds
no
of
longer
good stuff
dons the
tonight.
X.
Speaking of the Marvel universe, it's just there's so much to talk about it.
Oh,
Yes,
man.
so great.
Dun, dun,
Hope your
dun.
eyes and ears were alive during these shows.
And
And
the movies.
my heart, yes, my
my
heart
Moose,
was.
when we have a night like this where it's like when you have so many topics, right? Or you have so much stuff you want to, it reminds me of like going to like a buffet and like, oh, I want all of it. Where do I start?
I'm hungry.
Well, Moose doesn't know anything
Yeah.
about that. Moose doesn't go.
No,
to
he
buffets,
doesn't.
so-
No, he doesn't.
No, I just eat what
But
I
Mike,
want.
you know
You're right.
that. Mike, you understand what I'm coming.
I
You're like,
understand what you're
Listen.
saying.
I
you
order
go-
what I want. I don't go to buffets. Yes.
Oh, that's different. But you go with your plate, and you know how most buffets have a line that you're supposed to kind of go. You know,
Uh-huh.
no, you're hopping. I take that right there. I take that right there. And you drop that
Is
plate
there a
off,
line
you
in
come back.
buffets? You know, the only buffet. By the way, Game God, I just want to say, your room is completely different now. You changed spaces. Are you changing offices? What's going on?
Yes. I've expanded to a duplex,
Okay.
or extended wide trailer. Either way,
Okay.
You know,
Oh,
no, yeah. I've relocated to another part of the galaxy.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
So this is the only thing that came through the portal.
Okay.
Right.
Listen, you just had to ask for my help. You know I would have been there for you.
See what I tell you, Moose. What I tell you.
Well.
and that. So this came through the portal. These 3 things.
Yes.
And those 2 things energized.
Okay.
And that was
Okay.
it. That was it.
What about the space-time continuum? You didn't mess anything up, did you?
I can't promise anything.
Well, he obviously did because we're on a different time right now.
That's what I
So,
said. I can't promise anything.
He messed all that
What Earth are we on?
up. 616.
Well,
868.
where do you Where do we start tonight? Is the question. I guess.
Hey, you got to hit some music. That's what we.
Oh
start.
no! I'm saying, where do we start before I hit the music? Before I go into our introductions of this episode.
Well, before we do any show and tell, anybody got new stuff?
I do. I don't have it next to me though, so I can't.
I segued you, man. I got hooked
you
up.
Oh, you did, but I knew that I wouldn't have time tonight to do any.
We got a busy night.
That was a problem.
I'll tell you this, Mike. he definitely got a treasure chest of stuff.
Ooh.
Yeah, but not everybody appreciated it. Well, you know what? I'll probably do it. I'm going to do a special at some point in time over the weekend with some pals of mine. All right.
As long as they're galactic.
All right. All right. Well, let's just let's get started. Let's let me go silent. Let me give silent on the set. Quiet on the set. Here we go. Doctor Strange is out and about. Yes, if you haven't seen it already, then you know spoilers are afoot, whether that's on social media or right here on the podcast. Picard and the Moon Knight finales. Yes, Star Trek is in the news. That's a strange new world we're about to see.
According to Wikipedia, a nerd is a person seen as overly intellectual, obsessive, introverted, or lacking social skills. Many so-called nerds are described as being shy, quirky, pedantic, and unattractive. We're here to prove Wikipedia right.
Oh, look who they let in.
This is Podcast for Sci-Fi, where all things sci-fi come to life. If it's fantasy, sci-fi, gaming, movies, interviews, we're talking about it. We're talking about it. This is Podcast for Sci-Fi, and here's your host, Moose, Game God, and Magic Mike.
Welcome to Podcast for Sci-Fi, where all things sci-fi come to life. This is episode number 344 on this strange new world. We're in the full crew. I've got the entire ship is here. We're ready to blast off into galactic proportions. Talk to you about all the nerdy stuff.
It's always good to see you guys on screen.
Yeah. Oh, is it? Wait, let me flex. I'm gonna flex for you. Boom! How you like that?
Well, hold on. Let me magnify. Let me magnify.
Yeah. They're getting small, so you got to zoom in. Please.
On screen. Number one, take control of the helm.
Magnify.
Welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us in the Facebook Live. We're coming on a special day today, Wednesday, the 7 p.m. time, Eastern Standard Time. That's what where we're at, instead of our regular Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So just had to flip the schedule a little bit this week, but we're here. We're always going to be here. And those listening on the podcast somewhere, hey, you didn't miss a beat, so don't worry about it.
I want you guys to know we gave them the extra time to watch Doctor Strange.
Well, we did, but we don't have to tell them that though.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. No, we just changed the time.
Well, we wanted you to have a matinee if you wanted. If you wanted a matinee, we allowed you to do it because we know not everybody is as rich as the podcast. So
no, that's true.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. You.
I'm definitely not rich the way this looks.
Oh, you got a new place? Yeah. You got definitely rich.
This is definitely an Instagram filter.
If that's the filter, you need to change it. I'm just saying. It
was a good filter.
Pick a new filter. Oh boy, where do we start? There's a lot to talk about tonight. Yeah, it's full of spoilers. So if you haven't seen these wonderful things, we're going to be talking about it. I would invite you to watch those things and then come back to the podcast, because I think we should start somewhere in the neighborhood of like I don't know. Ooh, let's go Picard. Let's do this. I'm going to call an audible right here.
Okay.
Picard, Strange New Worlds, Moon Knight, Doctor Strange. What do you say?
Oh.
That sounds good, but I have a feeling he's going to call a Moon Knight or a Moon Knight, an audible later on, and throw something else in the works.
Well, that's what I was about to say.
Always puts a little twist in there, which
I didn't
great,
agree.
but,
I didn't agree because it's not us to decide. He just decided it. That's what.
It's just audible. Blue 56 said.
that's what you had to say. If you just said Blue 56, I'm in. That's all you had to say.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't know that play. We
That's
can't
all
do
right.
that one.
See?
That's okay.
Picard has ended. Now, this is a series. This is season 2 of Picard, and this is when we heard this Picard TV show is coming out, we were so excited, and we had a lot of thrills in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of thrills, and to some people are like, some of that we just didn't like. So season 2 is coming, and we said, "Oh, this is gonna be great." It's got Q, it's got Gyna, it's got 7 of 9. I mean, okay. What do you got? Oh, but by the way, Dr. Soong.
Yes.
I mean, how can you go wrong with this particular show in season 2? And for that, I turn it over to Magic Mike. Magic Mike, tell us your thoughts behind the season finale, and then kind of wrap up a season 2 overview for us of your thoughts of season 2.
So
aficionado.
So we stopped talking about it about 2-3 episodes in, I think, right, guys? Something like that.
Yeah, that's about right.
Let's let it finish out. And then I'm not sure exactly what episode, if it was the last episode or the one just before that, but it feels like maybe episode 9, because there's 10 episodes. It feels like we finally started to get Star Trek Picard, and it felt like it took so long to get there. And here's where my overall, it was just okay, because my issue is that they played too long. Moose, you and I called it. You go back in time and you stay on Earth that long, it's gonna be a long season, and it ends up being a very long season. And even with the finale I really enjoyed it being as good as it was. The only thing for me that held it together for that piece even was the relationship between Picard and Q. And that was something that was really cool to see. After all these years, it turns out that Q has just really admired Picard for who he is and the kind of person that he is. And Q's, spoiler, as we talked about, Q's dying, and he says that Picard's still on trial. And after he goes through the season, Picard saves the universe for what it is for that time frame, because they go back in time, and his one of his great grandmothers or something along that line,
something like that,
ends up going into space. There were a couple cool things along the way, but for me, this was the one saving grace for the season, was that relationship between Picard and Q, and even that was pushing it. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but there was not a lot there on the plate.
So I'm gonna go from the new guy's perspective of Star Trek. That was the experienced guy, knows the history of Star Trek. I defer to him when I need to find out if I'm missing something or I'm trying to get a reference point. And when I started season 2, I'm gonna give my overview first. When I started season 2, I was in. I'm like, this is what season 1 should have been. This is how you pull us in. I was excited. I'm like, the Borg Queen, a lot of mystery. And then when they went back in time, you guys were talking it. They're gonna spend 5 episodes back here. They're gonna ruin it. I was like, no, they're not. They're just gonna jump in. They're gonna jump out. Maybe 2 episodes and call it a day, right? Man, was I so wrong? It wasn't that I was so wrong, but I was like horrifically wrong. I lost interest and struggled through this season after episode 4, realizing that there were going to be more than 2 episodes in the past, and the scene where they were singing, the Borg Queen was singing when they're in I'm like, what am I watching? Am I watching Star Trek Glee?
Yeah, it's Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, like there was everything was done worse than season 1 in season 2. And I not to steal some of your thunder there, Mike, when you said the saving grace was with Q, I actually almost was like, I don't even know the history of them like that, but I almost like a little something caught in my eye. I was like, oh, that was actually a friendship in disguise. And so, and I appreciated that scene, but everything else was horrible. Like, what happened to the FBI agent? Like, they just left him hanging high and dry. Like, look, one too many cry wolves. They fired me. Like, wow.
Right. They went nowhere with that. Yeah.
So there was just too many open-ended questions, and I can tell you, as much as we say we will watch season 3 of Picard when it comes out, because it will come out, and we already know who's going to be in it and stuff like that. I'm feeling like I'm going to defer to the way of Discovery and watch the first episode and just wait for it to end and watch an overview of the whole entire season and call it a day. I wasn't aboard on season 1. They kind of lost me to the end of season 1. They definitely lost me in season 2. And I can tell you, not only do I feel like that, but the Rotten Tomato scores feel like that. And I'll let you tell you what they are when Moose.
Hold on. Yeah. And by the way, Game God, your shirt feels like it's moving. I don't know what kind of Instagram filter that is, but it's sparkling. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. From the cosmos.
He's gonna be,
it's like changing.
Well, the indicator is he's going to be the next Batman. You know, he's going to follow Edward Cullen there, and the sparkle.
Let me tell you something about Picard, and that is, simply put, they're ruining this character in the timelines that they're creating. I love old Picard. I mean, not the current old Picard. I'm saying I love
original Picard.
TNG Picard. Love this guy. Love this guy through all of the movies. Love this guy as a TV show. Love this guy. And in what they're writing for him at this point almost seems incredibly crazy. Like this isn't Picard. Now, to your point, to both your points with Q and Picard, yes, I agree. I think that was the only cool thing about it all. When you're able to, when it comes down to it, that was the thing that actually were to save Picard in a way that you go, oh, well, that was worth it. But really, was it worth it? Now we're talking about now Q can die. Like, I have a problem with that. Why is Q able to die? He shouldn't be able to die. That's ridiculous.
If Thanos can die, he can die.
Well, the problem is what Moose is saying is that there, of all these things that are happening this season, nothing is explained. Nothing is like makes sense. Like, okay, let's just open this door, which opens this door, which opens this door, which opens this door, and then we shut it.
What? Yeah, like why did the catastrophe happen in the first place? I don't understand that.
It seems ridiculous. Nothing was really solved. This was literally an X-Files episode where nothing happened from the beginning to the end. Nothing happened.
Yeah. Was it the good one from the past or the remake? Which X-Files?
No. It doesn't matter, because in X-Files, here's what happens. Here's the ploy and the layout of every X. I love X-Files. It's a good show. But let me just tell you what happens. Whatever happens in the beginning, you find out something, and at the end, you find out nothing. So it ends like it started. You still don't know, and so that's most of it. And in this particular season, it's the same thing. You go, what? What did I just witness?
Yeah.
Yes, John Delancey that plays Q. I think he is I think he's a phenomenal actor. I thought that he sold the role. I completely agree. To see Guiana in there made zero sense at all. With the way that she was used, not to see her in there, but the way that she was used made zero sense. And then you go to
what about Will Wheaton?
I listen, you'd have to go back to TNG where you had this thing with this alien,
the Traveler.
Yeah, you remember that? Now, I just thought it was kind of silly to that whole thing.
It almost like they threw him a bone. Like,
I don't even think they did that. It was just fanfare, I think it might have been, because that could have happened. Sure, that's a cool thing, but it's like at the very tail end, you're just like, okay, the fans want to see Will Wheaton back? Okay, maybe they do. You bring him back right here at the end and go for a 5-second spiel.
Like, literally.
That was it, because he could have come in sooner. You could have maybe done something more with him. But either way, and then you have the 7 of 9 gets the implant back. It's like, why? Why are we even doing this at this point at the end?
That whole 7 of 9 thing was just ridiculous.
Can I tell you, it looked more fake now than it looked back then.
I agree. I agree. Well, they should have never taken it off of her in the in the show in Picard.
Right.
That's the problem.
About Girardi Borg Queen. How do you feel about that combo there?
I think that's ridiculous. Again, I just think that's ridiculous. I thought that they had a good person that looked like the Borg Queen that sold the role.
Mhm.
And I go, they're messing up. Now they kept the body still, so you go,
Right.
well, I mean, the nanobites or the nano tech or the whatever tech they're the Borg tech that they're using that could fix her, I guess, or like I don't know.
Well, and what is the Borg's life? The Borg lives to assimilate everything and anything that's of intelligence.
It's like a plague.
And so now we see that as not the Borg.
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, that's not the Borg. It's 2022 Borg.
Yeah.
I was like, what? What? No, the Borg, they were ruthless. They would just.
So you saw two things happen in this Picard season. They took two iconic figures / entities and dismantled them. Q, you find out he can die. He's not as strong as he supposed to be. And the Borg, who's supposed to be the most ruthless villain, everyone's scared of the Borg kind of character, and they puppet.
Now
fight.
you're not.
Yeah.
Now you're not. Hey, by the way, the other high point of the show was Brent Spiner's a character. That he played him so well. And then I really didn't get the daughter thing at that point with Will Wheaton, like, you want to travel with me, like, what? Wait, what?
Yeah.
What is going on? Like, I didn't understand. I really didn't.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense because Will Wheaton got to that point throughout several seasons, and that was kind of like, oh, this is interesting, and that was just a way for him to leave the show at the time. But it just doesn't make sense. Like, there is no lead up to this whatsoever, and I get throw a surprise in there. Absolutely, I want a surprise, but it didn't fit or flow, which most of the episodes did not fit or flow as Picard and as Star Trek even.
Well,
one last note for me before.
Yeah, one last one for me too. I'll let you go, Game God, because you are the man on the planet. Keep going.
Jeez, Project Khan, did that excite you guys?
Zero excitement out of it.
All right, well, that's what I got.
Again,
fanfare, exactly. But it's ridiculous. By the way, well, hold on, Magic Mike, and I'll let you have the last word. Like you said already. The fact that you introduce these new characters and they go nowhere with them, like, why spend so much time on a new character and go nowhere with him? Even in season 2, throughout this entire piece, even through season 1 and bringing some of those characters over, same thing. You going nowhere. You got the captain from the other ship. Oh, I'm staying. I can't stay. What are you talking about? Like, anyway, it just goes on and on. It's just ridiculous. And then one of the coolest guys this season 2 dies in the beginning. You don't see him again.
Episode.
And then, like, this is a guy you want to see more of. You did, but you didn't. And finally, yes, this whole thing about spending too much time in the past on Earth is ridiculous. It does nothing. Does not what people from Star Trek and fans of Star Trek want to see. They just don't want to see that. They want to see new stuff. They want to see new. Give me new content, please. Give me a new storyline. And rehashing an old 1966 storyline is not new. Just for the record.
Hey, Mike, just so that you know, Mike, the fans also agreed with us and Moose with the Rotten Tomato audience score being a 29.
Ooh,
that's not good. That
is
good.
Not good.
Magic Mike, you have the final word into Picard, and please take us into Strange New Worlds.
Well, I was just going to add to the Brent Spiner piece because he loses the daughter, right? He realizes, okay, this is done deal. How can this happen? And then as Game God picks up, he mentions the Khan piece. He just picks up a file and goes, "Oh, Khan." Like, it's like, okay, I just switched gears just like that. And so, to your point, Moose, it's something going to nowhere, which is not what happened in Strange New Worlds. Now, when I watch Strange New Worlds, I'm getting goosebumps right now just mentioning it. It was completely the opposite. So much of Star Trek now. Again, what's that? Fool me once, it's on me. Fool me twice, it's on you. If this is a full third time, I'm done because we have this first episode was great. It was awesome, and I'm not gonna. I'll let you guys go into more detail. I just want to say this about it. So we have a beginning. We actually had an end to the episode, and voila. It was a great episode. We don't need to carry it over to the next episode or 4 or 5 more.
Right. Exactly.
Listen, I agree. So I watched this episode. I didn't know what to expect, right?
Mhm.
I don't really know Captain Pike only from Discovery. His number one, I don't know what that relationship is. And I know of Spock, but this isn't the Spock per se that we are accustomed to, knowing, right? I mean, as a matter of fact, in the first episode, he has a relationship, and he's going to get married, which I that's new to me. I didn't even know Vulcans could get married. And like, well, I didn't, and this is how much of a noob I am with Star Trek. I didn't know that they had emotions or were allowed emotions. I thought they were like Jedis. They weren't allowed to have emotions. So that was all new and interesting to me. And even how his wife spoke to him, or his soon to be wife said, "Hey, you can go jump galaxy to galaxy, but I'm not going to chase you to marry me." Like when she said, I was like, "Oh, okay now." But I thought this had everything to bring someone who is new to Star Trek or fairly new to Star Trek and get them hooked. There was a beginning, there was a plot, there was an end, there was interesting characters, and they set up the next episode. And if you watch the trailers for the episodes to come, you're like, "Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, yeah, I want to watch that." And when we circle back, as we go a circle again, I do have all the Star Trek shows based on a Rotten Tomatoes score, who scored the worst and who scored the best. And you'd be interested to hear this.
Well, I know who scored the worst already. It's Picard. I think their score is probably below Enterprise. I gotta say it's below Enterprise. It's got to be, because Enterprise is
these
better.
are tomato scores, not audience scores. The tomato
okay.
Oh, well,
he gave us
still,
an
I'm
audience
going.
score.
That's what I'd still say.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, Strange New Worlds. Listen, Captain Pike is something I said all along. That Anson Mount, I love his portrayal of Captain Pike. I wanted to see more. We don't know a whole lot about Captain Pike previously, Game God, based on, I mean, this is show about TOS, and he was in the first
So why is he such a fan favorite?
The first episode, only the pilot.
Why
well,
is he
because we did. Well, because no one knew anything about him, but he came before Kirk.
Yeah,
and that was an interesting dynamic.
Could he surpass Kirk in popularity, you think?
Oh yeah. No, he won't. No, Kirk did by far. I don't think Captain Pike could surpass Kirk in that aspect, but this is going back before any of that took place, so that was really interesting. You heard Kirk's name mentioned there in the first episode, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
But
and he's a lieutenant.
Well, yeah, it's George. It's his dad. It's his father.
It's his father. It's not even the Kirk that we know.
Right. So you've got some time. We got some time before Pike he sees his own death. I love the fact that they put that in there.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's so interesting.
It is.
Because we knew how he was ending up.
Yeah.
What was happening to him. Yeah. That's what did you watch that episode?
No, I know that. I'm talking about, like, is he dead? Like, I know in the episode they do that, but does he die? Do we see him die before this episode? Like, does he die in TOS?
Oh, I wasn't sure where you were going with that. No, he's just in the first pilot episode.
Okay,
we don't see that.
I thought he's dead, and then we're leading up to his death. No, so this episode is actually.
But that's what takes him out of the Federation. I mean, clearly his life is completely different after this accident happened.
Okay, got you. Okay, now that makes sense. That like I didn't connect the dots. I'm like, okay,
yeah, but we don't know hardly. Like, we talk about his number one and all these other things. We don't know anything there. So the only thing we've learned is from Discovery and then now Strange New Worlds. So when I think about that, though, I really enjoy this episode. I love his portrayal. First of all, I love his haircut. And second of all, I love the fact that
good hair.
Yeah, he's got gray hair, doesn't he? I love the fact that this guy has given Pike a resurgence, a revival, and it seems like Star Trek. Like, when you watch him and you watch the relationship, his crew is a little different. I'm like, okay, but nevertheless, when you see that, I think Star Trek. And when I compare that to Picard, I go, Picard's not Star Trek. This is Star Trek.
Absolutely. And if you remember, this was my issue with Discovery, of not having a true Star Trek captain. Because Star Trek captain is someone who is in charge. He takes control. He's calm, or she's calm, or whatever the case is. They make decisions. They're able to do these things knowing who they are. And he does that. He's able to do that here. I mean, they go to a strange new world, who in this world, they figure out warp technology based on what happened through Discovery. And they use this to create a warp bomb instead of a warp signature, or a warp ship with engine, which leads to them coming there. But again, such a great episode because it gets solved. Now, there is something going on in the background, which we've already talked about, but that's okay. You can have that. But every episode doesn't need to be dependent on another episode. Just let it go through and play just like a Star Trek. He's doing right by Captain Pike. The story so far has been great. Just don't take it apart. Please don't. Be careful.
Yeah.
Well, so I love how the replacement number one is still on the ship. So I thought that was pretty cool because I really liked her character. She played a really great character. And to your point, they mesh well. Like the personalities they have on there mesh really well. I don't know the race of the guy that looks like the alien. I don't know. I know he's part of Star Trek. I've seen those before, but I don't know if he's a famous character. So I don't know if he plays do you guys know him as a famous character, or is that just a guy?
Well, imagine
the guy with the little antennas.
Yeah. He's talking about the
Andorian.
Yeah, the Andorian.
Yeah,
I was gonna say Rodian, but that's Star Wars.
It's not a specific character.
That is correct. That's Star Wars. That's Greedo's race.
Yeah. Right. So here's something I thought that was pretty fun. So you guys know Mike has seen every Star Trek show out there, and Moose is pretty close to it.
Oh, you've seen him too.
Has he? Okay.
He always gives me this little bit of Star Trek, and I'm like, man.
But Moose and I usually just go with it because you have all the Star Wars. So I'll just take the Star Trek, and because you have me on Star Wars without 2 times over, so I'll just take the Star Trek piece. And I'll be good with that.
There you go.
So I like to throw out those tomato scores. So this is a list from the worst tomato score based on the tomato meter, not an audience score, to the best from the shows. Okay. So you mentioned earlier, Moose. You said Enterprise was possibly the worst, right?
No, I think that now Picard. It's a good chance of it beating Enterprise because Enterprise was low. So go ahead.
So Enterprise is the worst at 55%.
Okay.
All right. Voyager.
I thought tomato meter was 29. Was that just audience?
No, audience.
He said it was audience before.
So what was the tomato meter on
85?
On Picard?
No.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's crazy.
It'll come on here. Hey,
we have a moment of silence for that comment. Jeez.
So Enterprise at 55%, Voyager at 76%. Man, Enterprise was that bad, huh?
It wasn't actually.
Listen,
it wasn't.
Listen, it wasn't. It was if you compared it to the other Star Treks. Now that is absolutely true, and I would agree with that. Except once you watch it through and you go, okay, for what it is, that wasn't that bad. I wouldn't have given it a 55. Yeah, that's just me.
I don't even know the name of the captain on Enterprise.
Yeah, come on.
I know who he is.
Oh, okay.
I know who he is. I don't know what his name was on the show.
Right.
Voyager. I know Captain Janeway. Voyager 76. Star Trek, the original series, TOS 80%. Right.
Okay.
80. That's an audience score.
No, that's tomato meter.
Oh, tomato. Okay. All
right. Star Trek, the Lower Decks. So the animated one.
Okay. That's ridiculous. We shouldn't even be part of this. But keep going.
But 83.
Okay.
Star Trek Discovery, 86.
Of course.
Picard, 86.
Huh.
Deep Space Nine, 91.
There we go.
Okay. TNG, 91.
Okay.
Wow, okay.
Star Trek Prodigy was the other animated one.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
93.
What?
That's silly.
And the highest, Strange New Worlds at 98.
Wow.
Well, we'll see that fall a little bit because
we will.
More people will review it. But quite honestly, if they just take a snapshot, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I mean, for Strange New Worlds,
that's awesome for Strange New Worlds. And the other person I didn't get to mention him was because we haven't seen a good one in a while. Was the Doctor? We finally got it back. A good Doctor who's that Doctor role that we see being played.
Play the Doctor, talk the Doctor stuff. Not too over the top. Yeah, the show at this point in time, Strange New World, has a good balance, right?
Yes.
I expect to see Spock go through some challenging decisions, right? Because he doesn't seem to be fully developed, if that's what I want to use as a word, Spock.
Okay.
Right? The Spock that we know, right?
Okay.
Or the Spock that I know. You guys know like 60 different versions of Spock. The Spock that I know is just all about reasoning and facts and stuff like that. So to see this Spock to be still a Spock, but have some real heavy human attributes, I find it refreshing. So I look forward to see. Yeah, thank you for putting my name out there.
You're welcome. Just that's if you have any problems with his Spock comment, there
you go. So, but I look forward to the next episode and the season, and it'll probably be like 6 episodes like they do nowadays. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, listen. I'm just gonna say it like it is. Strange New Worlds is the real deal.
Moose was right.
Yeah. I mean, look. Tune in because you're gonna enjoy that. And I'm gonna continue to enjoy it. And one of the other continues to enjoy the thought that this was going to be a ringer right out of the gate with Moon Knight, and I was excited when we knew that there was going to be a Moon Knight, and now Game God, it's over. The finale has happened, and I didn't see any spoilers on social media about it. So tell me why.
Listen, this was supposed to be the series that was going to go ahead and redefine these MCU shows, right? We went through a couple of them. We went through WandaVision. We went through Captain Bucky and Falcon or whatever his name is. And we went through Loki. And so then we get to Moon Knight or the what ifs. So we get to Moon Knight like, all right, here's a character that it's got a kind of like a clean slate when it comes to the TV show. Mm-hmm. We can do a lot with this guy, right? Mm-hmm. Oscar Isaac is the actor. Oh, great guy. Was in Dune. Was in Star Wars. And we're like, this guy can deliver some acting chops.
Okay.
So that's the stage.
Okay.
6 episodes. 6 episodes later, because that's the new season now. 6 episodes. I felt like we got nothing. Right?
We got duped.
Hey, I don't even know if we really was watching Moon Knight at this point. This might have been an episode of What If. Mm-hmm. But this last episode in particular, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to talk about the last episode in particular. I felt coming into episode 6, I'm like, there is no way they can close out a season in this one episode 6 because they had so many things open. Moon Knight wasn't even back in his outfit yet. He was still in, he was still in civvies. He was still in civilian clothes. Matter of fact, he was dead, right?
Yeah, he's dead. Yeah.
So I'm like, how are they going to bring him back to life?
Well, they do that with a talking hippo, but keep going.
Yeah, how are they going to bring him back to life, have him be in a suit, fight the bad guy, win and save the day? And by the way, it was the shortest episode of the entire season at 44 minutes.
Okay, so here's just picture this for a minute. Okay, close your eyes. Pretend like episode 1 through 5 never happened. All of a sudden, Moon Knight comes on, and it's episode 6, and it's the first episode. What do you think?
I might watch it. I would
watch it then. This was where we should have started. This is kind of like the lead.
Moose didn't agree with us. Didn't agree with us. Hold on.
Here's the thing, Magic Mike. I think that you're partly right there. My only kickback is, did we need all the other stuff? Like, to your point, is did we need all the other stuff? But I think they could have solved that in one episode, just like we talk about. I know that's your point. I get that. Just like we talk about all the time. Like, I don't need 5 episodes to explain that there's 2 different people. Remember, we said this from episode 1. Like no, it's the same person. He got split personality. He's got another demon fighting inside of him. Another personality. We could solve that in just 15 minutes. That could have been it, and we could have been done. Here's the thing. I would have disbanded all this other stuff with surfing the seas of sands. Like
Egyptian history. Come on, man.
I don't mind anything. I don't mind anything. I have a problem with Egyptian history. I have a problem with surfing the sands because you could have done a lot of other good stuff during that time. That's all I'm saying. It was really dark, so it's on the green screen. Obviously, they didn't really have a ship that went through the sand. But the point is that I think that maybe half of the episode, if you could cut out the first half, I think maybe the second half you started with, it would have been better.
Yeah, that should have been the start of this series. That happening at the end should have been the start of this series, because then it's like, now I don't need all this other stuff. Now we can go somewhere with it and actually do something. And still, to me, the king of the castle for this show was Ethan Hawke, Harrow. He still stole the
I
show
agree with
away
you.
from everybody else.
I agree with you.
And so, and we talked about the writing and the acting stuff like that before. What's caused this, but I can tell you, I mean, it's the same writer, but Ethan Hawke, he took it, man. He went with it, and he stole the show. He did an awesome job in everything he did.
Moose, I wanna add on to Mike's comment there.
Yeah.
Mike, remember when the Batman came out, and I think we all were in agreement that there was going to be more Batman than Bruce Wayne, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think the three of us to an extent was satisfied with the way the ratio was, right? I think you said you wanted a little bit more Bruce Wayne, but you were okay with how it
Just a
came
little
out.
bit. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, sure.
Yeah. This was the opposite. Where is Moon Knight? I felt like if you took, let's average it out at an hour an episode, so it was 6 hours worth of Moon Knight, right?
Mhm.
I felt like we got 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that's about 40 minutes too long. I really do. I think that and that's the issue. Like if you take the first 15 minutes of the first episode, first 15, okay?
Okay.
Cool. And then you give me the last, there wasn't even 45 in the last episode, but
Right.
give me the last half of the last episode. Well, that made, now we smash those together like a sandwich.
Episode 1.
And that's episode 1.
Yes.
And then you could have built on that, and really had given Ethan Hawke some more time there with his character. But the point is that it was just too much. It was just too much regular, Joe Schmo type of stuff. And I it was horrible. That was horrible. It was a terrible show. I'm sorry I watched. I want my time back.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'll ever get it back.
Me and Moose were talking offline, and I was like, man, I don't want to finish it out. I have no desire to finish it out.
I gotta tell you, WandaVision don't look half bad now. I'll tell you
Actually,
right now.
WandaVision's looking really good right about now.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
unfortunately.
saying. Well, and it's funny is the Rotten Tomato scores don't reflect that. The Rotten Tomato scores gave it an 87 on the tomato score.
Yeah, that's
but
ridiculous.
the fans gave it a 92.
What?
Yeah, that's ridiculous as well. It's just
What
didn't
fans are
hold the weight.
watching it? That's what I'd like to know.
I don't know, but I do have a question for you guys. When was Wonder Woman introduced into the Marvel universe? That character in episode 6, who was that? Was that the new Wonder Woman for Marvel?
Oh,
Deflecting bullets and
Yeah,
flying,
I know you're
stuff
talking
that,
about, yeah.
The Scarlet Scarab. That's the character
Something like
I'm talking
that.
about.
Oh yeah, I wasn't quite sure in all the.
That looked like Wonder Woman. I was like,
Yeah, I
that's
get it.
Wonder Woman. That's the Egyptian Wonder Woman. I mean, the character was cool, and I know that character is a legit character in the Marvel universe. But yeah, I was like, let's go. Put this
Hey,
one
listen.
in the-
The fact is, if you haven't saved your time already, save your time. If you have nothing to do and you want to clean your house with Moon Knight on, good for you. Otherwise,
Go watch clickbait.
don't give it that much attention. The attention now has been drawn to the strangest thing that we're going to be talking about tonight, and that is Doctor Strange. Yes, spoilers alert coming through your speakers right now, because I went into this movie thinking that this could answer a lot of things. It could do a lot of things. I was only given like a few answers, and I'm not so sure I was happy with all the answers that I got from the things that I wanted answers from. Although I will tell you that I didn't quite understand the entire story concept before going into the movie, although I should have, like with Wanda being like the
bad guy.
Like, so you see, if you remember, like in other pieces of movies where Doctor Strange then goes to Wanda's house and is like, hey, I need your help.
Mm-hmm.
Well, wait a minute. That didn't sound anything. That didn't look like anything that Doctor Strange when we saw the movie. Let's be fair. So circle back, Magic Mike. What was your initial piece of going into Doctor Strange here?
So a lot like you, I did not see this coming as Wanda being the bad person in this movie. That completely caught me off guard because of what we had seen, and I'm not sure what I was expecting. I did not expect that, but I will say this: I will say that because I called that this was going to do better than Spider-Man. I need to take that back a little bit. I'm gonna have to walk back just a little bit. Can you get that beat button
Hey,
going?
Mike, you got space in that car with you? You got space in that car with you?
Because I don't know what the score was. And I've talked to people and sources who loved it. And don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed the movie, but it was not what I was expecting. Maybe that's on me. Maybe that I expected too much. But we have so even first coming in, it felt when the scene first comes on, it almost felt gimmicky. And I'm not sure how I can put it that way other than to say that word, because, and listen, I don't, America Chavez, I love that she's in it, but I felt like that she did not have the fighting prowess that the other characters did. Anytime she was in a scene fighting, it felt gimmicky. Anytime there was a scene without her fighting, it felt in like MCU. And that was a problem for me. I didn't want to see two different movies. I wanted to see the same movie. And I think she did a great job, but that part of it for the fighting piece, I thought was very lackluster, because you could see her throwing the punch. You know, it was like, that's not even a punch. And so it's just one of those things that they should have done a better job on that.
Have you seen how you threw a punch, Mike?
I have, yeah.
That's pretty close.
To me, and Game God, I'll give you some time here, but to me, when I saw her on screen, I bought the fact that she was her character. I got that piece. I'm like, okay, all right, you sold me, you being that character. I would have rathered her completely just not been able to do anything and still continue to be I'm scared, and when I get really scared, my powers happen.
Yes.
I would have rathered that continue out, because quite frankly, then now I have control of my powers. Like this isn't an 80s cartoon, right. This isn't, you learn how to, it took Iron Man a long time to learn how to fly. Like,
exactly.
It's just kind of strange to me. Yeah. So I don't like that when they do that to characters. I thought she did a fine job, except the fact that I thought that it was fast forwarded, and you know what? Maybe I wouldn't have bought it. If I was going to say if it was over 2 hours and 6 minutes, maybe I would have been a buyer. But honestly, I wouldn't have been. I wouldn't have been a buyer.
So I'm going to do my best to streamline my comments and not just let it explode and just go all over the place.
Okay, don't put it on there for us.
So first of all, I went into this movie just like you, Mike. Expectations up to here, right? But to our defense, the advertisements, the hype behind it, everything was saying this was going to explode, merge the mutant universe with the MCU, and we got all these cameos. Oh, they showed this already in a trailer. What more can they show us, right? And they did. There was a couple of things they did, right? So I went in there with that, but I got taken down a notch or two when I accidentally saw the runtime of 2 hours and 6 minutes. And before I saw that runtime, Moose and I had an offline conversation where we said, this movie's got to be like 2 hours, 45 minutes. It's got to be 3 hours with all the stuff they got. Man, and Moose said, I'm going to give him the credit for this, and I just agreed with him on it. Moose said, hey, if this isn't that time, if it's a 2 hour and 10 minutes, that's scary. That's what he said, his exact words, quote, right? And when I told him it was 2 hours and 6 minutes, he thought I was lying, was one. But number two, he says, oh, that's not good. And so I walked into the theater, I sat down, I saw the trailers they had for Avatar. I was like, I don't care. I saw the trailer for Lightyear. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Right? I'm like, okay, let's go. I saw the Top Gun trailer. I'm going to watch that.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay. So I'm halfway through my popcorn at this point, and Doctor Strange starts. And exactly what you said, Mike, I'm like, what am I watching?
Yeah.
What's going on here? Like, I thought it was on Disney Plus for a second.
It's funny you mentioned Disney Plus, by the way, because that was the first time in the title banner that they had Disney Plus in. I don't know if you guys caught any of that stuff, but in the title banner is Disney Plus.
Yes.
So the title
I see that.
So I'm not going to give too much away to kind of bounce it around throughout the movie, but I want to tell you, when I got to the end of the movie, and I'm going to tell you what happens, but when I got to the end and I leave in the theater, I felt like I watched WandaVision Part 2. Right?
Wow.
Because this, I saw more of Wanda or Scarlet Witch than I saw of Doctor Strange.
Yes,
right? And I gotta tell you, here's the other piece to me that I totally took me off of this film, that shut me down, was that they told us who the bad guy was. And they told us in the first 15 minutes of the movie who the bad guy. So all this movie became was a race to the finish line of who can catch the girl, who knows she has powers but doesn't know how to use them, but became an expert at the end of the show. Excuse me, because it felt like a show. At the end of the movie, an open portal. And why did she go back to the portal where her parents were? I don't get it. But so when you look at this movie did everything that Marvel Cinematic Universe does not do.
Well, that's funny you say that, because this was more like a DC movie than it was an MCU.
Ooh, that's a good point.
That's exactly how I felt. You're trying to squeeze all this stuff in this short time. Now we just got to sit down and wait for the Zack Snyder cut to come out. That's all we're waiting for right now.
That's a funny thing, is that, we expected for this type of an event, particularly when you release a trailer that says the Illuminati will see you now.
Oh, yes.
Go ahead. You brought it up. Talk about it, Moose.
Well, I will, because that's the only. Because look, okay, this is the high and the low part for the movie for me. So first of all, let me just say that the fact that you said that, I'm like, okay. Not that we want to see a 3-hour runtime movie, but we're thinking it's got to be close. Spider-Man was 3 hours.
Yes.
So if you tell me Spider-Man, who only had a handful of characters in it, that we go, oh okay, and then they were able to do it well, and a lot of times that doesn't happen in movies. They're not able to do that well with all of the different characters. But now you have Doctor Strange. You go, okay, we know there's going to be other characters. We know we want to see them, and we know we want to see them in action. So that's big. Now, Illuminati, please enter. They will see you now.
Woody Wuddy?
Okay.
Slow it down, Moose. Slow it down. Take this bit by bit. I know this is. Listen. I can see it.
Listen, I got to tell you, this was big for me. This is big for me because this is the first time we've seen the Illuminati on screen.
Yes.
And so not only did we see them on screen, when they introduced them, I thought it was terrific. Obviously, I knew right away that hey, there's one that's not here, and then they bring him out. They bring out Professor X. Yes, Picard, Patrick Stewart.
Picard that we just trashed earlier in that.
Oh no! But his acting is not. That's not the deal. They're trashing the character of Picard. Yeah. But Patrick Stewart's a great actor, and he played Professor Xavier exactly like we want to see him being played. The fact that they brought him out, and then if you're paying attention and not cheering too loud, because I was, and you hear this,
yes,
yes,
I was like, oh, I'm glad they put that in there.
And then I felt the do. Anyway, go ahead.
Let me tell you something. The other fact is I said all along, I've said John Krasinski can pull off Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards. And what do we see? We see John Krasinski, the Office character, come out as Reed Richards, one of the smartest human beings in the universe, and he did well. Now, with that being said, we also saw in this Illuminati Agent Carter as Captain Carter.
Yes.
I don't know what they call it.
Which, by the way, was never on the Illuminati. Just want you to know.
Yeah, right. But it was in What If, so I can applaud him for something like that. Okay, kind of cool. And in this particular, time frame or whatever, that's fine. They also had Mordo as part of the Illuminati.
Supreme. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Of course, he wasn't as bad. I don't. Anyway, it doesn't want to get there. And then you had
Superior
who else?
Iron Man, Superior Iron Man. I mean, Captain Marvel.
You had Captain Marvel,
Marvel.
but not Captain Marvel. So you're like, oh, that's a different Captain Marvel. Okay, that's fine. Okay. And of course, we have Black Bolt.
Black Bolt.
Yes. Also, Anson Mount reprised this role as Black Bolt, which I was super excited about that.
So good.
His costume looked amazing. With a little tuning fork on it. That
of course
was pretty awesome.
Now, having said this, I'm thinking, okay. And I love the energy that they were displaying about how if she comes here, we don't worry about that. We're good.
Yeah.
They sold
And
it.
now, by the way, I was a buyer. I'm like,
yeah, I am too. I'm in.
Absolutely, they got
No
something for
problem.
this.
These guys, these are the baddest people in the universe, man. These guys
Yes,
got this.
exactly.
We even got more than we bargained for. They actually had lines. We only expected them to just kind of sit there. They actually all got to talk and have conversation. I'm like,
conversations. Oh,
like,
and by the way, the Doctor Strange in that universe got destroyed by the Illuminati, and
yes.
Black Bolt specifically. I'm sorry.
That part, and even that part that they showed was awesome. That was so cool to see his power. That was so cool.
Hey,
and
by the way, that Doctor Strange from that universe took out Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet.
So by the way,
taken out by the way in this universe. But
okay.
I don't know if you guys know this. I know there's lots of little places to go, but the Thanos in that world didn't have the Mind Stone, FYI, on the gauntlet. I don't know if you guys caught that or not. It was missing the Mind Stone.
Ah, interesting. Okay. Well, that's the high point. We literally have reached the climax of the movie for me, because after that it was all downhill. In a way that I enjoyed, some of the other pieces after that, but not nearly as much as I enjoyed seeing that and seeing these Ultron Iron Men.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. And by the way, at this point, the Illuminati falls to pieces like they were foot soldiers in the Hydra era.
Yeah, they're the gray colored soldiers. They don't even have
literally
names.
unraveled Mr. Fantastic. Come on.
Literally. I'm like, oh, come on.
So Moose, I gotta jump in here. I gotta tell you, I'm gonna pick one character in particular that I was extremely annoyed how it went through, right? And that's Professor X, right? In all of comic book history, Professor X is either the strongest psychic telepathic person or one of the strongest.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And the only other person that comes to mind off the top of my head that is equal, if not just underneath him, is Jean Grey.
Jean Grey.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
So
but didn't this whole feel though that you got with Scarlet Witch was they're just ripping out of Jean Grey's a storyline?
Well, they are, but if you remember in the TV show WandaVision, when she gets the book, it says that she's more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. They say that in the WandaVision. So I guess we could give some of that to there.
Well, so here's my problem, right? Never mind that they teared Reed Richards to shred, who's the smartest man in the universe, and didn't see that coming. Okay. Right? Never mind that they killed Captain Marvel with a statue.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she's gone toe to toe with planets. Okay.
Right.
No. Never mind that Captain America would never not catch his shield. Right? Would never not catch his shield and gets killed by that. Right?
Yeah.
Never mind that. Yeah. But for Professor X to die in a mind meld of some sort.
Yes. No.
At that point in time, I'm done.
Listen. I've seen Professor X go on and go, okay, I'm taking you straight to the astral plane. We're gonna disband.
Yeah. I'm gonna be a different dude here.
Right. We're going toe to toe somewhere else. How about that? How do you feel about that? And this should be a place that you're unfamiliar with. And even if you are familiar with, I'm still powerful. And by the way,
I brought you here.
Doctor Strange has the same ability of getting to that astral plane as well. So now we could go 2-on-1 if we wanted to. But anyway, again, it seemed like I'm like, what is this all powerful being? What is this? And the way that Black Bolt died was a pretty interesting way.
That was kind of cool. I'm not gonna because he panicked.
I disagree.
However, I don't believe that she should have been able to do that.
Absolutely, she doesn't have that kind of power. She doesn't have that kind of power, and that's the problem I have.
They leaned on the manipulating
mystic powers, whatever you want to call
it. Her
mind controlling, matrix powers.
It doesn't matter because she should have been able to do that like that. Come on. It's first of all, it reminded me then of an 80s cartoon where they're going, okay, all he has to do is talk. Like they're telling you what's going to happen before you do it. I'm like, oh, hold on a second. He would have just said, No.
Here's the other piece. His mouth is closed. So how's he killing himself? There's no sound coming out. I don't get that piece.
Because he released the sound. You could actually heard him. I actually heard him.
He did say something. Yeah, the sound will still come through, just not through the mouth.
Yeah, there's still sound.
I'm just saying.
It would have made more sense. Well, because we're arguing over the little things, right? Because it would have made more sense. I would have been okay if she could have put them in some kind of dungeon, some mystical trap. I'd have been okay with that. And maybe they didn't recognize it and know what was going on, and she's able to do her thing. But to take out the Illuminati and to take them out the way that she did so quickly, this is what was so disappointing. And this is why I say DC versus MCU, because that could have lasted, even if they give her the power to do it, it could have lasted a lot longer, because we didn't get to see them do anything. We didn't get to see Mr. Fantastic do a thing. That was just disappointing, because the first time we see him on screen in years and who we want to be, he does absolutely nothing. And so this was, I did not, and the storyline in itself, I'm not sure how I could buy this. So children that aren't really yours, now you've become the most powerful creature in all universes, the multiverse, because you want to be with somebody else's children that you created in your own mind. And so the whole story to me felt a little out of whack. Like I said, it was there were several scenes that were gimmicky, but there was a couple good fight scenes. Don't get me wrong. There was a lot of good fight scenes in here that we got to see.
Wait a minute. I got to argue that point. You said there's a couple of good fight scenes, right?
Yeah.
So first of all, let's go back to Infinity War, when Doctor Strange produced thousands of copies of himself to fight Thanos, right? His powers looked much more impressive there than when he was in this movie. This movie's little swords, little saw blades, shield. I'm like, what are we doing with these parlor tricks for? Come on, man.
But who was he fighting? He fought himself, and he fought.
No, Mike. Don't
what do you mean, no?
Don't water this down like bad Kool-Aid, okay? Listen, he fought Gargantos in the beginning, right? Yes. And he's getting drug up a wall with a chain like the dog, like he's walking a dog. Come on, man. This is Doctor Strange we're talking about. This is a dude that almost shut down Thanos, right? Went toe-to-toe with Thanos, right? Yeah. And this guy is throwing chains and little daggers and stuff. I go as far as to when he put Scarlet Witch in the mirror verse, that mirror trap. Yeah, I am so mad that she broke out of that easy. Because
I was.
That's a problem for me. That is a trap. I had a problem when Spider-Man got out of it in Spider-Man No Way Home. When he got out of that universe, I had a problem with it, because that universe is Doctor Strange's go-to. That is his ace in the sleeve that buys him time, if not shuts down the situation. And she used it as a teleport. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, I thought a lot of things were ridiculous. Like I said, if you were to take away Black Bolt's mouth that quickly, why don't you just take away Doctor Strange's hands? Right. Why not just take away like everything? Just take away America Chavez's feet. She can't go anywhere.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
That's just ridiculous. It's just there's just certain things that I go, well, if you were really able to do it, you could have really stopped this, and you would have never had to do anything.
Well, that's why we all are feeling the way that we do.
Like I said, just all went downhill from there.
Well, and then we have the mid-credit scene.
Let's not go to the credit scene yet.
Okay. Wait a minute. Hold on a second.
I don't want to go to the credit scene yet.
Are you sure? Okay. Because I think that Game God inferred to me that, hey, there's an end credit scene. And I liked it, and I was like, okay. You like the end credit scene? That's what you said.
So before we go there, I did say that.
The mid-credit or the end credit?
The mid-credit. Because I didn't even see the end credit. I didn't even see it, because I asked the guy who was there. I asked the attendant. I'm like, hey, listen, am I waiting around for nothing? He's like, it's nothing. I was like, tell me what happens. So he told me, and I was like, I'm out of here. That's nothing. I was like, I'm not waiting around to see this. Thanks, Bruce, but I'm not waiting around.
Well, so by the way, to Moose, Sam Raimi, the director, did do Evil Dead.
Yes.
Okay. To my point, the second half of Doctor Strange felt like an Evil Dead movie, right?
You got to see your Zombie Strange. You said Zombie Wanda was in it, but it was Zombie Strange. So it
was Zombie Strange.
And listen, when he had the darkness cloak on him, that was pretty cool. Yeah. That was pretty cool. But we didn't see enough of it. Like I felt like it was just like another fan thing. Let's just throw it in there.
Mhm.
Yeah. The fact that the third eye piece, I think is interesting that's with him. I thought that if I remember Doctor Strange in the comics, where he was able to have like the eye in his hand
That's
or
correct.
something.
Yeah,
like-
he does
Yeah.
have it in his eye too, in his head as well as the
Yeah.
eye of Agamotto is what he uses it for at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm just
can I
saying,
tell
like,
you that eye looks so ridiculously fake. Like you mean to tell
Hey,
me you can't do a little makeup action
no-
and get
hey.
that CGI? You know what I mean?
Newsflash, it's fake.
Well, it looked horrible. It looked so bad. It looked like if Doctor Strange moved too fast, the eye would stay in one spot.
Well, see, and I wish that's the worst of what we were talking about. I really do.
Yeah.
But it's not.
It looked bad. It looked bad. And so I didn't like that. This movie, when I left the movie theaters, I watched both end credits, unfortunately. When I left the movie theaters, I left saying to myself, first of all, I'm not excited for the next Doctor Strange. Right?
Ooh.
So that's number one. It didn't do anything for me. Like usually when you leave an MCU movie, you always say, "Oh man, I can't wait for the next one." Man, that,
Right. Okay.
that wasn't that looked pretty good. Even this reminds me of when we first saw Guardians of the Galaxy the first time we walked into that theater, we thought it wasn't going to be good.
Yeah.
We went in there and said, this is going to be, and then we left. We was like, "Oh man, I can't wait for the next one."
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
When I left Doctor Strange, I left like saying, "Man, if I don't see another one, I'm okay."
Well, here's that is funny, but here's where I would say the mid-credit scene. This is why I liked the mid-credit scene, because I think we will go back to the Doctor Strange that we know, because this is Clea, and we see into the dark dimension where Dormammu is, and I think we're going to go back to that and see a Doctor Strange that we had in the original Doctor Strange and that we're familiar with. Here, I think they tried to squeeze too much in. And it might as well have been another one, like you said, Game God, WandaVision, the second, WandaVision 2. But we'll go back to the Doctor Strange that we know and love. And I don't know. I gave it a score. Did you guys give it a score for yourself?
Oh, I gave it a score. But listen, before we give it the score, I think I would have been okay if they called this movie Scarlet Witch. This was definitely the Scarlet Witch.
Okay. I got a score for it now.
Okay.
Right. This is definitely the Scarlet Witch movie.
It should have been named Scarlet Witch and not Doctor Strange. Honestly, it should have been.
And that mid credit scene should have been part of the movie. Should have been an end credit. Should have just been part of the movie, right? Mm-hmm. And just so for information purposes for the people who listen to us who know or don't know, Claire is Doctor Strange's love interest.
Yes.
So I'm nervous now that we go down this route, the Thor route.
Well, she's the supreme sorcerer supreme in the dark dimension, isn't she? Like Dormammu's niece or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
She becomes the love interest for Doctor Strange,
right? Exactly.
And all that stuff. So okay, so we're going to scores. Are we giving some scores?
All right, I'll give it a score. But how much did it do? How much did it do on?
Glad that you asked.
Yeah.
So opening weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Right. Domestically, it did 185 million.
That's it.
Oh,
domestically.
I thought it would do more, Magic Mike. I really did. I really thought it was.
I didn't think it would do more.
Well, I mean, based on what you guys are telling me, this thing's going to knock it out of the park.
So international involved, right? 450 million.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
Wow, that is a lot.
But does not include China because China hasn't released yet.
Well, do you know why? I think they I thought there was some speculation they wanted something removed from the movie and they wouldn't remove it.
I think you might be right.
It's possible. So 450, right? Just to give you comparisons, I'm going to give you a couple comparisons here.
Okay.
The first Doctor Strange lifetime total did 678 million.
Oh.
Right? After Monday, Doctor Strange is over 500 million. So 507 million, right? And it is the fourth highest MCU movie to date. Do you care to put the other three?
Guardians of the Galaxy? No, I'm just kidding.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's gonna be no, that's not MCU.
You're right.
Better not include it as MCU. So it would be Infinity. It is MCU. They're saying that's MCU. Well, then Spider-Man, Infinity War, and Endgame.
Yeah.
Yep. So Endgame number 1, Infinity War number 2, No Way Home number 3. This is the fourth highest. This is it is only 17% behind Spider-Man's opening.
Really?
Right? Yep.
Wow.
And it's 126% above the Batman's opening.
Well, that doesn't surprise me though. There's been, there's definitely more excitement around
Yeah.
MCU's movies than there are DC movies. So that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
So
But-
to go back to the numbers piece, it's not going to pass Spider-Man.
Definitely won't pass Spider-Man.
It
It's
won't
going to go
pass
down. Going to go down pretty quickly after. I
Yeah,
think.
it won't pass Spider-Man. I think that at this point, can I readjust? Can I readjust my numbers?
No, you never can. We know that. What? Okay, score. I give it a solid 6.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm at a 6.5. That's what I have.
I would agree with that. I could go to 6.5, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, I hate to say it, we're all the same here. I give it a 6 as well.
Yeah.
Listen,
I give
we
it
we have agreed way too much tonight.
This is a ridiculous. We shouldn't be agreeing this much.
multiverse of madness. It's
I
strange.
blame that fairly on Game God's shoulders.
Yes.
I'll take that blame.
Messing up the timeline.
I'll take that blame.
Completely dismantle the where
Would you
we
watch it again on Disney Plus?
I'd watch up until the Illuminati, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
I actually would start with the Illuminati.
Well, that's where I would watch up until that point.
I would watch the Illuminati. I'd watch about 10 minutes of it and I'm done.
And then I'm done. Yeah. So,
Start
Can I,
and
can I, can I ask?
unlike the Doctor Strange, the original, which I go, oh yeah, just let that run. Yeah,
exactly.
that's it.
Absolutely.
Hey, I just want to go out there for the record too. This movie had far too much killing. I gotta tell you, we pride ourselves in making sure we have the whole family enjoy these movies, and this is not something that I would take a little one to.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
There was this movie felt borderline horror.
It did.
It tried to do jump scares, right?
Mhm.
It tried to do jump scares, and when they popped off Black Bolt's head, I'm like, nah, I'm done.
Yeah.
I can't do this. Right. So I wasn't a fan of it. I'm not. I hope this is not the direction they think they can take these movies.
Yeah.
In the comic books, even in the comic books, it wasn't something they showed. It was always
They
implied.
didn't have to. Yeah, they didn't have to. Yeah.
It was always implied.
Yeah.
And you knew which comics you get it out of. Like,
Of course.
you might see it in the Incredible Hulk because of who he is, right? You definitely didn't see it in the Doctor Strange comic.
Right.
And I don't know if I'm completely sold on the fact that Doctor Strange is now the new Tony Stark with the comics.
Yeah, it's not the
I'm not-
same.
I'm
It's just not. And here's what you got to be careful of, because this is what they've done. So they started all these different directions that they've gone with Disney Plus and the Marvel universe. Is they're trying to squeeze it all together now. They're trying to make it all fit, and it just doesn't have to. You can have WandaVision as a TV show and then have a Doctor Strange as a movie. You don't need to combine them. You don't need to mix everything in. And Moose, you've said this lots of times. You don't have to answer every question. But you don't have to combine any of it. You can have a completely different comic to say, because we had Doctor Strange comic. He had one. Some of them combined. Sometimes they didn't. So
That's right.
It's okay to go different directions.
Yeah. And look, the fact too is that Doctor Strange comics, if you go back to the original comics of Doctor Strange, you're going to see him a lot of dealing with demons from other dimensions. And that happens way more than you think in his comics. And he was able to bring those out and summon them at any given time. And I don't think he really did that, but maybe once, and then you never saw it again.
Yeah.
Twice?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, all I'm saying is that's where his powers lie, not in the throwing shards of
Right.
glassware or something. Like I don't know what
Conjuring a
he's doing.
sword out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'm fine with that for one piece, but then hey, okay, that didn't work. Guess what? You got to deal with this guy.
Hey, let me pile on a little bit more. I'm not sold on Wong as the Sorcerer Supreme too. I'm sorry.
Oh, me
not
neither.
either.
Yeah,
that didn't make
either.
sense to me,
And it
by
looked
the way.
like he was struggling
He looked
a
like
little
he
bit.
wasn't sold.
Yeah, he looked like he was struggling a little bit in some of his moves. So
He's like, wait a minute. Oh, I'm the Supreme here. He wasn't sold on his moves. Like, if I didn't know better what that term mean, I thought he was just another character. I'm like, okay.
Right. Agreed.
Yep.
Yeah.
So listen, I could tear this thing up all night, guys. I just want you to know that.
Well,
And I don't wanna tear it up,
unfortunately, we don't have to do that because our time has come to an end, Game God. Listen, everybody. Listen, if you want to see this movie, go see it. Just know what you're getting into. Just know how it comes out. And if you listen to this and you already saw it, hopefully that was the case. Maybe you agree with us. Maybe you don't. We'd love to hear your thoughts. So if you did or not, listen, next week, same bad time with our regular scheduled programming.
I was just leaving.
Nerd alert, nerd alert, nerd alert, nerd alert.
You've been listening to Podcast for Sci-Fi with Moose, Game God, and Magic Mike. Nerds have more fun. If it's anything sci-fi, we're talking about it. We had fun, and we hope you did too. We have to split, but we'll be back soon. In the meantime, hit us up at podcast4sci-fi.com. This is Podcast for Sci-Fi, where all things sci-fi come to life. Come to life.